Need to begin in Pennsylvania, where Luigi Mangione's extradition hearing is happening right now as we're speaking. Eyewitness News reporter, as we just mentioned, Kimberly Richardson, she's inside the courtrooms. We're going to check in with her when it wraps up. But we want to start with Eyewitness News reporter Dan Crowd, get the latest on the process. Dan, bring us up to speed.
Yeah, David, a big day today. This morning, Luigi Mangione walked into a courtroom in Pennsylvania for the first of two hearings. Mangione, wearing an orange jumpsuit here, was quickly escorted from a police SUV into the courthouse earlier today. Outside the Blair County Courthouse, several people are quietly holding homemade signs today, one echoing the words written on bullets found at the shooting scene saying "Deny, Defend, Depose." Another sign read "Free Luigi." Mangione is charged with executing United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson on 6th Avenue in Midtown on the morning of December 4th. He was arrested later at a McDonald's in Altoona, Pennsylvania on December 9th after nearly a week on the run. He is expected to waive extradition today, clearing the way for a return to New York later today at the soonest for another hearing. Weather permitted, the NYPD would likely fly Mangione to New York and deliver him straight to court to be booked and processed here. He would then be arraigned as soon as this afternoon. On Tuesday, Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg announced Mangione had been indicted on first-degree murder and furtherance of terrorism. He's also charged with 2 counts of second-degree murder, and he also faces other weapons and forgery charges as well. He is also expected to face federal charges out of the Southern District of New York. Now, federal charges could make Mangione eligible for the death penalty. He faces a maximum sentence of life in prison without parole if convicted on those state charges. As you mentioned, Kimberly is inside the Pennsylvania courtroom right now for today's hearing. It's starting a little later than expected, and we'll hear more from her soon. Reporting live in the newsroom, Dan Crowell, Channel 7,
All right,
Eyewitness
Dan.
News.
Thank you for that. And we literally just found out Luigi Mangione just waived extradition. We knew that this was coming, but Kimberly is inside the courtroom. She learned of this information. He could be returning to New York as soon as this afternoon, but let's send it right to her. She is in Pennsylvania with the very latest. Kim?
Yes, and Shirlene, I'm here outside the courtroom. Luigi Mangione entered the courtroom wearing a prison-issued orange jumpsuit. He was shackled and handcuffed. This first hearing started at roughly 8:32, and while seated, at one point, Mangione turned and glared at the large contingent of NYPD officers that were seated in the courtroom. There were about a dozen of them. He appeared extremely relaxed and was very engaged as his attorney explained all of the paperwork. The judge asked the 26-year-old murder suspect if he understood what was going on, to which he answered yes. This hearing lasted only about 6 minutes. That was part one, and it centered around charges here in Pennsylvania, that being forgery and weapons. Mangione's attorney announced his client had agreed to waive his right to a preliminary hearing because prosecutors had agreed to start handing over some discovery in this case. Then there was a break. Mangione's attorneys, his prosecutors, they all left the room for a meeting with the judge. Mangione sat by himself the majority of the time. He kept his head down, reading the paperwork that was in front of him. This break was very uncomfortable. It lasted more than an hour. Mangione was by himself. He was tense at one point, staring down an officer, an NYPD officer that was seated just feet from him. He was shifting in his chair. He was patting his feet. He was well aware everybody in that courtroom was focused on him. Then to the matter of extradition. That was officially waived just moments ago, and that clears the pathway for the NYPD officers who are here in this courtroom to transport this murder suspect back to New York City. A lot happening here. There's some protesters out here that are here saying free Mangione. We've seen that here. We've seen that in Manhattan. Again, just waive extradition, heading back to New York City. The plan had been to fly him back to New York City and not drive him because of security concerns. For now, we're live outside the courthouse. Kimberly Richardson, Channel 7, Eyewitness News.
Mornings at 10. We do have some breaking news on this very busy Thursday morning. We just got this new video. Take a look. This just into our newsroom of Luigi Mangione exiting court moments ago. If you recall, he waived extradition. So that means he's about to fly back to New York. He should be arriving here sometime in the afternoon. Kimberly Richardson was in court for that brief hearing, and she's going to be checking in with us in just a moment from Pennsylvania.